Saruman believes that it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I found it is the small things, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love.
You shall not pass!
The Blurred Fix Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 262 of the Filmmakers podcast. This is a podcast where we talk
filmmaking
from indie film to studio films and
everything in between.
how to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
Fuck it
F it up.
Oh,
In our very, very humble opinion, she went blue for the dads. Bit of blue for the dads.
every time.
Every time. This is our very special episode with the absolute star, that is Sir Ian McKellen.
I thought you were going to say us at first, but no. It was actually,
No.
We were just hanging on inside.
I was, but I will introduce you now. Of course, my hosts today with me are Matthew Butler-Hart and Tori Butler-Hart. Hello.
Hello, Giles.
Hi, Giles. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. It's nice to have you back hosting. It's an absolute delight.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure. Thank you for sorting this out. It was you guys who set this up with Ian McKellen, and all our listeners massively appreciate you for it, as do I.
No, not at all. No, I mean, because we chatted to him about it a while ago because we wanted to try and get him on earlier, but Ian McKellen, the busiest 82-year-old in the world.
Yeah.
But we
Unbelievable.
finally
It's
got him.
official.
Finally got him up.
It's official,
Yeah.
right? It's official.
It's official.
He's officially the busiest 82-year-old in the world, I think. Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. Yeah.
And if you don't know, Matthew and Tori have made many feature films themselves, including Two Down, Missing Her Teens, The Isle, and of course, Infinitum, Subject Unknown, which does star Tori and Ian McKellen. Hey, how cool. Nice.
I know, I was like,
Tori's the lead.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Tori.
it does star me, and
Yes.
Ian is
Ian
in
is
it.
in it. Correct. Ian is in it. If you've not seen it, then do go watch the film. It is brilliant. They made it in lockdown on their iPhone, and just the two of them. It's totally brilliant filmmaking and totally worth seeing. And we did a whole episode about it as well, which was episode 212. So you can listen to that episode. But on this episode, we talked to Ian Blooming McKellen, and it's an absolute delight. It was so much fun, wasn't it, talking to him?
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's always a little bit intimidating. I've known
Yeah.
him for almost 20 years. I'm not going to lie. I still kind of the first like half an hour I'm going, that's Ian McKellen. Like, yeah, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
But it's just he just sort of exudes that.
He
sort of
does, and-
Gandalf-y sort of.
Well, because also, I mean, there was a sort of partly just sitting in his house. And
Yeah, like you've got Magneto's helmet over
yeah.
there. You've got Gandalf's sword just
Sword.
hanging out in the corner. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I walked in. He offered me a cup of tea. He scooted off upstairs to make it. I then met you two in his room, and there's Magneto's helmet and the sword of whatever. And suddenly I'm going, oh, okay. And then he comes down with a cup of tea for me. This is gorgeous. And then he says, would you like some Christmas cake? And I said, oh, I'd love to win, but I'm plant-based. I can't have it. And he went, well, this one's vegan.
He said, I stole it
That's
from
what
the
he said,
vegans
the
next
vegans
door.
next door. And I haven't had Christmas cake for maybe 5 years because of this, because there's not many vegan options around. I just haven't. And so this was an absolute treat for me. So now, like you say, it's intimidating. I'm put off because I've got vegan Christmas cake. I really want to eat it. I'm trying to unravel the cables, and he goes, how long? And I'm like, oh, no, it's an hour. He goes, well, we better get on with it then. Shit. Should we list some of Ian's amazing credits, just for people if they don't know, and just to remind them of what he has done? I'll do a few to start us off with. So 6 Degrees of Separation with Will Smith, one of Will Smith's first leading roles. Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
I know, he's so good in that. Yeah, I think one of his most recent ones, which I love, another Bill Condon film with Helen Mirren, The Good Liar, which is brilliant.
And Mr. Holmes was brilliant as well.
Mr. Holmes again.
Yeah.
And I think this is true. I was going to ask Ian about it, but I forgot that he did a thing, like sort of a TV film called Loving Walter, and I think it was the first sort of non-factual thing that was Channel 4 when it first launched. And he's brilliant in it.
Yes, yeah. We also talked about a film that no one knows he starred in, which was one of his first films that never got a release. That was a bit of a coup. That was quite nice, wasn't it?
Yes, that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought I'd missed the film he was in. I was like,
Yeah, we all did. Giles was pouring through his notes. How on earth did I manage to miss one of his films? This is terrible. And no one's ever seen it.
No one's ever seen it. So we talked about that. Also, he starred in Jack and Sarah, which is I loved that film as a kid. Richard E. Grant.
Brilliant.
X-Men movies, 5 of those as Magneto.
Yes, which we talk about.
Lord of the Rings, 6 of those. Da Vinci Code with you, Matt, starred with you.
Which we did not
talk about. We didn't
almost entirely cut out of.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, babe, it's like it's sort of happening all over again. Didn't get to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's almost like it never existed. Never mind.
He was in Stardust, The Golden Compass as well. Egad Zombies, your short film, is fantastic in that.
Of course.
I'm also in as well. And people can watch that on your website, right?
No, it's currently hidden, but we will release. But I think we might re-release it.
We might.
If people ever want
maybe.
to.
I think people do. Yeah. He's also got a blog which he talked about. Link to that will be in the show notes. It's kind of his book on filmmaking. He also offered us one of his scripts. He'll talk about that. So when he does, you'll be able to find a link to that as well.
Yeah, and Richard when Richard the Third.
Yes.
That's the script, isn't it? So on his blog, I think that's what he talks about is
that a
getting
bit of a spoiler?
Yeah, you just
is
spoiled
it? Sorry. Okay.
He also talks about in a script what he looks for when he's sort of choosing what next project he wants to do as well, which is very interesting.
Yes, exactly. What's sort of most important to him? Yeah, and also what not to do. Equally important.
Yes, very important. This is Ian McKellen, everyone. He's has received numerous awards, including 7 Laurence Olivier Awards, Tony Award, Golden Globe Award, Screen Actors Guild Award, 2 Academy Award nominations, 5 Primetime Emmy Awards, 4 BAFTAs. Oh my gosh.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot for us to get into. And we mentioned what we could, but we missed out on talking about cats. So obviously he was disappointed by that hugely, I imagine.
Yeah, crashing disappointment.
Maybe we can do like an add-on. Like
I think maybe a cat special. Maybe we could get Judy on as well and do a Judy and Ian cat special.
I'm all down for that. I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make it happen. Shall we get to the episode with Ian then?
Yes.
Please, Giles.
Do remember you can follow us on Patreon. If you like this, then do dive in there. We've got so many bonus bits and pieces, including a bit of Ian McKellen, including a bit of Matt and Tori as well. So there's more filmmaking talk of how you can go out there and make your films as well. And the wrap up every Sunday. Sign up if you haven't already. Link to that is in the show notes. Right, here it is. Myself, Matthew and Tori talking to the legend that is Sir Ian McKellen.
What says so? I says hello.
Hello.
Everything all right? Yes, is that okay?
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
This is absolute joy in your home as well. It's gorgeous.
Very special.
Very special. Joined by Matthew and Tori, but the heart as well.
Hello.
Giles.
Hi, Giles.
I'm all right.
Our family was very keen on performance of
Yes.
which we did privately at home, singing and reciting poems and playing the piano, which my father and sister did together. And we went out together as a family to the theatre a great deal. And there were 3 theatres in Bolton when I was a lad. But we didn't much go to the cinema. I can remember Dad saying he wanted to take me to see a musical. It was called 3 Little Words. 3 little words. Da, 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 3 little words. 3 little words are I love you.
Yes, I was just about to say,
Bob
I love you.
Hope was in it. So that was my first musical. But on the whole, we didn't go to the cinema because I think my parents thought they were not very wholesome places.
Well, I was going to, because did you come from quite a religious? Was your father or your grandfathers?
Yes, they were very religious, but they were not puritanical at all.
No.
So it wasn't that they thought that cinema would was degrading in any way. No, it was
ruin
just
your mind.
The quality of the cinemas was not high, and they were flea pits.
Right. The actual buildings. Okay, not what was being shown.
So the theatre was a little bit more. You could see where you were, and you felt safe. So I never got into the habit of going to the pictures, as we called them, and I was never a member of the ABC Miners, which did Saturday morning serials, and I've still not got into the habit of regularly going to the cinema like most of my friends do. Whereas I still go to the theatre a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm a sort of theatre actor who landed in films by chance, really. I always used to say, until very recently, I'd never had any ambitions to be a film actor. And yet I've just only the other day read a letter from my agent at the time, and in the 70s I wrote him a long screed complaining as to why I wasn't in
Why am I not in movies?
cinema, and I don't remember feeling that at all.
Oh my goodness.
But it did come to me rather late. I've made a film almost every year
Yeah.
of my career, beginning in 1964, something like that. And I went off to Switzerland to be in a Mirisch Brothers film called The Bells of Hell Go Ting-a-ling-a-ling, and it starred Gregory Peck, who was a big name at the time, glamorous American leading man. It was an adventure story about him and a troop of younger people, including me, during the war. Switzerland was neutral during the war, but they got involved in this story. And it was a summer movie. It had elements of Sound of Music, which had recently been a huge hit in the same country. A lot of children in it. There was a bit of singing. But I wasn't much enjoying it. I was confused by it. When I complained that Mr. Peck, who was playing an Englishman, kept saying lieutenant instead of lieutenant. The director, who had directed the Marx Brothers in his time, David Miller, said to me, Ian, don't you understand that the UK is only 5% of the world market? It was interesting, that, isn't it? Those sort of considerations don't bother theatre actors, but once you're making a movie for the international market, then I suppose your attitudes get changed a bit. Anyway, the snow came early that year in Gstaad, where we were filming, and filming was abandoned. It was never finished.
Oh, wow.
But I got paid £4,000, which was my salary.
Huge.
And with that £4,000
Still
in the
quite nice
bank,
now.
That's quite nice now.
I didn't need to work for money. I have to thank my first film, though it never was finished.
We were both looking at our notes going, I didn't know about
this
film.
film.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't, because it doesn't exist.
Exactly, I know.
And have you ever seen any of it?
No. I've got some photographs of it, but
Yeah.
black and white.
What were the major differences then at that point? Because you did develop into a huge theatre star and still are, but at the time theatre was your home. That's where you wanted to be, even though you said you didn't want to do film and TV in your mind. Obviously, we've got this letter that says you did, and obviously there was something burning in you. What did you find about when you did start making film that was different, that you found? How did you get into characters as opposed to theatre? Was there a difference for you?
I suppose the biggest difference, which pertains today, is that although films take an awful lot of time setting up and arranging, particularly the financing and so on, and bringing everyone together, the one bit of preparation that doesn't happen is rehearsing the actors and preparing them. You're just expected to go in on the day and be the character. Now, you'll have talked about it a bit, I suppose, and thought about it a lot. But in the theatre, you would have done the same and still had a month getting to know the character, getting to know the other characters, and making decisions and discarding ideas and trying things out. None of that is possible in filming. And I've never really understood why films are not prepared more in advance, as far as the acting is concerned. When I introduced Bryan Singer, who directed the X-Men movies, to the idea of a rehearsal, I had to explain to him what you did in a rehearsal.
But did he give it to you?
He did not know what it meant. So we sat round, Brad Renfro and Brian and I, with our scripts, and he said, now what do we do? I said, well, Brad and I read it. You read it? Okay, read it. So we read it, and I stopped halfway through and asked a question about the line. And Brian just threw the script up in the air and said, I can't do this. So we didn't.
So you didn't?
But he's not unusual. Film directors don't know about rehearsing and preparing. And
you get your blocking, and that's
they've hired casting directors who will pick actors who will be able to deliver just what is required. So I found, subsequently, I found that very difficult.
So there's a lot more preparation for an actor going into film than theatre, I guess, because you have to, your first day might be one of your last scenes. So to be able to sort of get to that point.
Well, there is that too. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. My first day I did Gandalf's entrance into the films at Bag End in the cart. And my second day, about 3 days later, we were not in location, we were in the studio in Wellington, and I was doing the last scene of the third movie.
I wanted to ask you about this, Ian,
and
because
I had to say goodbye to the hobbits, and I didn't know who they were. I'd never met them before. I said to Peter, I had read the script, but I said, well, do I know these people well? Do I like them? He said, oh, yes.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot together. So I did what I think many actors do in films when they're not sure. They don't do anything at all.
Right.
I bank on the editing and the other actors and the music and the soundtrack and hope that will all bring it together. And I must say, if you look at me in my last scene, you'll see a face that is expressing nothing. But
that's not true, Ian.
You can read into it what you like, and so it's all right.
But that's extraordinary. I knew they did them back to back, but I thought they did number one and then two and then three. I didn't realise they were skipping backwards and forwards.
Quite literally, it was all over the place.
That's
as I remember,
terrifying.
It was all over the place, yes.
That is extraordinary.
And so each day's shooting usually began with Peter saying, where we were in the plot.
This is what's happened so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. And then I was, as a tyro film actor, I was having to discover how much or how little the actor had to do in terms of projecting a performance. And in the theatre, the projection is a crucial thing in the use of your body and your voice. And you have to be able to reach everybody in an auditorium, small or large. In the cinema, the audience is closer to you than any audience in the theatre. Obviously, particularly in a close-up. And there, I think I'd read or heard Michael Caine recommend that you did nothing. You can't, of course, do nothing, but don't lay anything on top of what you are, I suppose is the message. I think I've got used to that now, but it's taken me a long time, because I connect acting with deep breathing and voice control and projection and telling the audience what I'm doing. Well, in a film, that's the last thing you need. Film, on the whole, being the naturalistic medium. In the theatre, all you have to do is, as Shakespeare said on the first line of Troilus and Cressida, in Troy, there lies the scene. That means you don't have to build Troy, you don't have to see Troy, you just know you're there.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare's always saying, making comments on the weather or the time of day so the audience knows where you are. Those performances were done in the open air, where there would be no changes of lighting and so on, and atmosphere. In the cinema, all that work is done for you. When Paul Scofield, the great stage actor who won an Oscar for, was that film called A Man for All Seasons. I think he only his second or third film. It was called The Train, directed by John Frankenheimer, which involved Scofield dressed as a Nazi, I think, robbing a train or stealing a train or something. And he was standing in front of a large steam engine that was ready to move and steam going and whistles and everything else. And he was standing in front. And he did the scene, and having had no rehearsal, of course. And Frankenheimer said to Scofield, that's very good, Paul, but you don't have to act the train. Now, in the theatre, you do have to act the train, because it's not there. Yeah. So that's a big difference. Your responsibilities are much, much less in the cinema. And further proof of that is in the theatre, when you meet an audience after rehearsal, the director is no longer required. He's off the payroll often. He opens it up and
never to be seen.
Has to be called in if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Though some directors are very diligent and see as many performances as they can. But in the cinema, when at that equivalent point, the actor has finished his work. He's on to the next job, hopefully. And that's when the work starts for the director and the editor, and they then make the movie. You have just contributed. In the theatre, you're in charge. That's why I think, on the whole, actors who do both will say, well, the real test is the theatre, because you have to do so much more than act.
And that sort of relinquishing of power, in a way, I guess, I don't know, some actors, perhaps that would be, it's kind of reassuring to have, that like, oh, well, actually it is very much in the hands of the editor and the director and the producers for a lot of the time. But that sort of relinquishing of power, do you find that frustrating sometimes, having less control working on film?
No, I just take it as a matter of fact. And I've only produced a film once, never directed one. And so it's rather nice to just be the hired help, the employee. And you come in and you do even if you're playing the leading part, you're just a part of the raw material that the director will then, with the editor, fashion into a movie. Ian Holmes, when he was playing Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings movies, we had a scene together in Bag End, and he said, look, Ian, I gather Peter does a lot of takes. Whatever angle the camera's at, we would repeat the scene many, many times. And he said, I will not be doing it the same. It'll be different every time, because I think my job as an actor is to give the director all the information I have about the character and see him in all sorts of different states, and I can do that with the script. And then it's up to him which he chooses to make the performance. So that's a modest view of what a film actor does, but it is the truth. You're not in control, which explains why so many stars, film stars, turn to directing and producing, because they're aware they're not in control. Now, in the theatre, it doesn't matter how celebrated your director or your producer or your fellow actors are. When you're there on stage speaking, you are in charge, and it's more fulfilling, really. Every part of you is being called on to contribute. I mean, what is wonderful in film is that if you've something really important to say, and even if you don't, often the camera will come in very, very close, and it'll be a close-up, and you'll be filling the screen and telling the story in that way. So you've had your chance, you've had your big moment. Whether that's going to be used by the director will be entirely up to them. And I think that's why a lot of people don't go and see their own movies, because they remember perhaps particular things that they did that they were pleased with, and then it hasn't made the cut. They didn't please anybody else.
Or it was out of focus, and we can't use that now.
Do you watch your own movies?
Do I? Yes. Oh, yes. But I don't enjoy them.
Right.
You don't study your own performance to sort of see, this works, or that works?
Yes, of course I look at my own performance. Yes, of course I do.
And used it as a tool for, or more of a just kind of like, oh God, don't do that again?
Yes, well, you could discover that. Yes. Well, you have an impression as to what you're doing, and then when you look at it, it looks a bit different. So again, I think your job's over when it can be. The first time you see yourself is usually when if you're adding the voice to it or changing the voice, and you have to go in for ADR. That, of course, is a wonderful gift. You can change your performance. You can change the intensity of the dialogue if needs be. And you get adept in matching your voice to the movement of your lips. If you're perhaps changing a word, which might be required, well, that's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And that's usually the point at which I begin to see what we've filmed. And being surprised. But then it's often so far, months after you did it, that of course I can't remember. Peter Jackson, on the other hand, he will come to an ADR session and he says, it's not quite right. And referring to the takes that we did months before, he'll say, well, what's take 13? I think that was a better one.
Extraordinary, yeah.
And, when you're in hands that are as safe as that,
Well, you work with Peter Jackson 6 times and then Bill Condon 4 times. What is it you look for in, obviously Peter Jackson thing, you didn't necessarily know it was going to be 6 at the time. But what is it you look for in directors when you're setting out or a script comes to you? Is it the script that appeals to you and then the director, or?
Oh, yes. Well, a very distinguished British director sent me a script the other day. And unusually for me, I thought, I must do this because it's this man. Well, then I didn't much respond to the script, so I said no. But usually it's the script.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not good at reading scripts of plays or films. I often get it wrong, I misjudge it. But my first question is this a film I would like to see?
Yeah.
And if the answer to that is yes, it will be because there's not too much violence in it, probably. That it's funny when it's meant to be. And then I'll say, and is this a part that I want to play? Or is it a part I've already played in another movie?
Right.
Which could often be the case. I mean, after Gandalf, I was only offered parts that were 100 years old.
Endless wizards.
And then you'll say, if you have a positive feeling about the script and the part, then, of course, I must meet the director. And if you don't know their work, then there's a lot that's taken on trust. But what I would hope a director would do, I always used to say, every director I worked with for the first 30 or 40 years in film, I said, will you please teach me how to act in film? I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow, I bet they didn't believe you.
And none of them ever did.
Oh.
Wow.
They hadn't time.
Right.
Or, the directors and producers in films are always looking at their watch. Always.
Yeah.
I've lost track of what I was saying.
Is that why you've worked with the same directors
what I
quite
would
a lot?
like of a director.
Yeah, because you've worked with Bill 4 times, haven't you? And I mean, incredible performances in all 4. I mean, incredible.
He gives me wonderful parts to play.
Yeah.
90-year-old Sherlock Holmes.
A genius.
That thriller with Helen Mirren.
Which
Good liar.
you're so. I mean, your character is like
Sneaky, wonderful, dark.
I mean, you're a cold-blooded murderer. I mean,
not to give spoilers.
Sorry, in case you haven't seen
nice
it.
with it.
Yes.
I mean,
No, but
that's my
brilliant.
point. Because in that final scene, I had to keep reminding myself he's a murderer because I was heartbroken. I was absolutely heartbroken with how you finished.
Well, that's an easy trick, isn't it? You just say, I'm playing a nice man.
Yeah.
The fact that he does nasty things, yes.
And he was so likable and lovable.
Yeah, well, thank you very much indeed. Anyway, yes. So if a director's not going to teach me how to act, I do depend on them telling me the truth, which they always do. If it's not been right, if they're not liked what they've seen, what a fool they would be if they didn't say so. Because
For sure.
then they're stuck with that rotten material. Of course, you can do it again, and hopefully again and again and again. Not always. I mean, Peter Jackson would think nothing about doing 20 takes of just one aspect of a scene, and then it would be filmed from another angle. That's why those films partly why those films took a long time to make.
Where Peter was loads of takes, for him, technically other directors are maybe more performance-based.
Yes, well, sometimes they'll say after the second take, well, I think we've got it. Oh, no.
Yeah. I was going to ask you.
Because I've only just started rehearsing, as it were.
Right.
Is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And then there was an extreme case of what often happens, because most films don't have the budget or the time that money brings. And, you look at the call sheet, oh, my God, it's my big scene. Oh, my God, we've only got the morning to do it. And we got to the end of one day in Hollywood when we were filming Gods and Monsters. And I had a long rumination about my past, talking to another character, and Bill said, it's 10 to 6 here, and they're going to pull the plugs at 6 o'clock. This speech takes 8 minutes. If you want to do it again, just start and do it again. Don't. I'm not going to say cut, because if I say cut,
that'll be it.
We can't do any more. So
Cunning.
Working against the clock with no rehearsal, and I think I did the speech 3 times, probably.
8 minutes as well.
Straight through.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then the then they stopped the filming, and next day we would have to go on to the next scene. So it's every film has got its own problems and delights. But with Bill Condon, he always tells you the truth. It can be devastating.
Really?
Like you just come and say, Ian, no.
Do you prefer that? Do you
well,
like
I just like to know what I'd like to please.
Yes.
You're only there to give the director what you can, as Ian Holmes illustrated. And I have been with directors who I've been frightened, scared of, and they've been. Don't say they've been bullies, but they've had I haven't felt comfortable, and if I'm not at ease with the people and the situation, I don't think I'm going to act very well.
Yeah. When the directors sort of treat actors like sort of just props that are sort of moving around and things, that's one of the reasons I stopped acting.
Well, they do that partly out of ignorance as to how actors work.
Absolutely,
and they think, I remember a theatre director saying to me only once, because I wouldn't ever work with him again. He said, don't ask me what you should do. I'm directing. You're acting. If you don't think you could act, you shouldn't be playing the part.
Oh, wow.
You totally depend on the script. You totally depend on the director. And you totally depend on the other actors.
Yep.
And it's not just a question of you arriving, knowing how to do it, which leads me back to I wish there were more preparation.
Yeah.
With Richard III, because this was obviously you'd done it on stage before, you'd had that preparation.
Lots of preparation.
A lot. And the talent involved in that film was incredible. And this was, you produced it, you did work on the screenplay, you wrote the screenplay as well. How was that then different? And I mean, our question always is, why not again? And also you've sort of
answered it's such a brilliant film.
Yeah, it's such a brilliant film and a brilliant performance. But what was it about that? I suppose there's three questions in one really, but what was it about that you said, I don't want to do producing again? I don't necessarily want to work on stuff like that.
Well, I didn't think I was very good at producing. Really? I mean, we'd played Richard III at the National Theatre and on tour at home and abroad. And because the period of the story was updated to the 20th century, I thought this might well work as a film. And it's such a rattling good yarn that with the encouragement of Richard Eyre, the theatre director who was running the National Theatre at the time, I wrote a screenplay, which he approved of, but couldn't direct because he was busy running a whole large institution. So I was then on my own having to go out and find... What was I going to find? I had no idea. I mean,
and anything, a camera, something. Yeah, I suppose you were like,
what do you do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I went to people who knew what to do, and many of them were in Los Angeles. And I had a very merry couple of weeks going around meeting high-powered studio bosses who were very...
encouraging?
Polite.
Polite, okay.
And I would make my pitch, which I enjoyed doing, and explain to them why I thought Shakespeare could be popular in the cinema. And none of them was really interested in making the film. But by that time, I had the help of some people who didn't end up producing the film, actually. People were recruited and began to take over and do the jobs that had to be done, like raising the funds. Oh dear, I didn't understand how all that was done. Getting it from a variety of sources, pre-selling the sales in various areas in the world. But I had a big say in the casting of it. I had a big say in the script because it was my adaptation basically from the stage. And I knew what the tone of the film should be, but I didn't know how to achieve it. And what was wonderful about Richard Longcrane's direction was that he professed no knowledge about Shakespeare, but a lot about the cinema. And for me, it was the reverse. So we never argued. I mean, if he said something about the camera has to be here, or we can do this in a different way, or we need 100 horses in this scene, or whatever it was, I would just agree because he knew what he was doing. And equally, I would make a point about the script or about the performance, and that was taken in good part by him.
So it's a real collaboration on both parts.
Yeah, absolutely. But it had taken 2 years to get between the point at which I started writing the script and it actually being filmed. That was 2 years, and I wasn't doing much else. And I just didn't think I was any good at it. And if I don't think I'm any good at something, I don't enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
The thought of doing it ever again,
because it's so hard.
I won't be doing it ever again.
Didn't you feel differently once you saw the film all put together? You're like, well, this is really good. Did you sort of think, oh, maybe I can do this?
And this is my
It was everything that I'd hoped it would be. Well, that was because of Richard and the actors and the script. It's. I'm very, very proud of it. I wish it were a bit longer.
Was there a director's cut?
It's the director's cut. I think we pared it down to the bone and left it a little bit too raw. It seems all a bit too easy, a bit too cartoony. But otherwise, it's very good, and there's some wonderful performances. And really, we needn't go on talking about it because I've written a book about it. I've published the screenplay. On one page, the words that I selected from Shakespeare, and on the other page, there will be illustrations and explanations as to why we made the decisions that we did, and stories about the filming and so on. I think it's a model of what a published screenplay should be. But it's out of print. However, if you access my website, www.mckellen.com, I think we are.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
You'll be able to have the whole screenplay for free.
Fantastic.
And it's...
that's really fascinating.
It's a good addition to the film.
Did you want to write again? I know you said you might not want to produce again, but did you want to adapt screenplays again, or did you want to actually write something from fresh for one of your ideas that you could be in?
No, I didn't. I think because I have such a satisfying time acting, I'm not looking around for something else to do. I mean, if it turned up, if someone said, why don't you film whatever? I've just filmed Hamlet. I've just been playing Hamlet. I'm 82 or something. And at the invitation of another director who I trust, Sean Mathias, particularly in the theatre, although we did make the film of Bent, I was in that film. We couldn't do our production on stage immediately because of COVID, so we decided to film it. And using the Theatre Royal Windsor, on whose stage we'd eventually do the stage production, we filmed in dressing rooms, in corridors, in the auditorium, in the flies above the stage, in the cellar beneath it, on the roof of the building, everywhere.
Fantastic.
Theatre Royal Windsor was Elsinore, which is where Hamlet takes place. Now, I'm suddenly involved in making a film, very closely involved, because it's the main part, and I'd had quite an input into the stage production. So, but again, fortunately didn't have to get involved in the financing. That was all sorted out by our producer. So, no, I have been trying to write a play, but not a screenplay. I had a bright idea that I'm not going to tell you about. And I haven't been able to write this script. And I wonder, as we're having this chat, whether I haven't sorted it out, because it's perhaps not a play and it ought to be a screenplay. But,
watch this space.
With the time I've got left, I'm happy just to be called up, and
well, I suppose also,
come and film.
Well, I think you said this before, with Richard III and things, it takes so much of your time. It takes all of your time to produce a film. You can't do anything else. But as an actor, in that space of those 2 years, you could have done
numerous roles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I wanted to ask you, Ian, on the subject of your brilliant Hamlet, and the fact that you did mention that, you are 82, and I imagine perhaps that beforehand, Hamlet was probably perhaps a role that you've gone, well, I've played it many, many years ago, I'm never going to play that again.
Yes.
Is there any role that you would love to play, regardless of age, or if anyone else has played it? Is there anything that you've always gone, I really, really wish I could have done that?
Well, I've never wanted, as some actors say they have wanted to play Napoleon, Oh,
really?
Well, if you wanted to play Napoleon, that's not enough, is it? Whose script is it?
Right, okay, yeah.
So the idea that, I've always wanted to play Winston Churchill, well, yeah, but what's the script like?
Yes.
It's always been my attitude. So, however, there are parts that I feel I've missed, but that's in the classic theatre repertoire. There are some parts in Shakespeare that I never played Benedict, a wonderful comic part in Much Ado About Nothing. There are other
Were you
parts
Claudio
too, but
when you did? Were you Claudio when you were Much Ado? Didn't you do
it's
Much Ado?
unkind of you to bring that up, but it's true.
I also play Claudio, so I understand.
well, you know what a
I
dreadful
understand
part
the
it
pain.
is.
Yes, exactly. No. I'm so sorry.
And worse, I played it twice.
Really?
gosh.
Once directed by Franco Zeffirelli, who was at the National Theatre with Maggie Smith. And
Well, that's not too shabby then, is it?
However, when he'd finished doing that, he picked up Michael York, who'd been playing a coffee boy, doing nothing to make him into a film star. But not me. I was left on stage with this dreadful...
Has there been any films that you turned down that you kind of wish maybe looking back you hadn't?
Well, one shouldn't really say, but... because other people went on to have big successes in them. But there's one film I was in this very room that Alan Bennett and Stephen Frears were trying to persuade me to be in Prick Up Your Ears, a play about the playwright Joe Orton, who was murdered by his partner. And I didn't take much to the script. I thought there was another way of looking at that tale. Dreadful story. I said no because I just finished a lot of work and I was going on to another big wodge of work, and I thought I wouldn't, feeling there were problems and ones that I would have to solve. I felt I didn't really have the time or the attitude to do it. So I said no. Well, when I saw the film, which I adored, I felt miffed. My own fault. But no, I didn't turn down Lawrence of Arabia or...
So I suppose it's very important for you to find roles that you connect to, because you have done smaller films as well, you know, like Asylum, or films that were shot in a short period of time. You have done Infinitum, Subject Unknown. You've come in and helped for Matt and Tori here. You have helped in a way. You have come on board projects as well, using your name in a way, your spirit, but also you obviously want to do those projects. And I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about, especially to our filmmakers out there who a lot of them are starting out, a lot of them are moving forward, young actors, young filmmakers, as to how they'd approach someone like yourself to bring you onto their projects.
Having had that one outing as a producer, if I get a letter from a producer at whatever level they happen to be, I feel sympathetic because I know
that's good. That is
this
good.
letter is not coming out of the blue. They've talked about it no end, and eventually they've decided, well, I suppose we could try and help. But anyway, there are all these problems, and you want to help. Now, the best way you can help is by saying yes to whatever they're asking. And if it comes from friends you trust, like your two interlocutors here, then, of course, it gives you great pleasure to be able to help. Well, if you want to get in touch with an actor who you think would be absolutely spot on right and help your movie in other ways too, contact them. How do you do that? Well, all actors have got agents. And you can find the agents because they're all in a book somewhere. It's not that difficult. And, but the actor will never know that I've written. Well, then those actors don't have very good agents. I see every request that comes my way. It might come with a damning comment from the agent.
But at least they pass it on, which is great.
I can't think this is something you would want to
do. Think about it.
But in fact, I had a note like that in an email from my agent. He said, I can't think why you would want to do this. I did have a good reason why I was interested in doing it. So people think, oh no, we must get the script to them, miss out the agent. I tell you, if I get a script from my agent, I give it more attention, more respect than if it comes out of the blue from someone who's happened to find out where I live.
Right. That's interesting.
Because we're in a business. It's a profession, and agents have a part to play. And I'm not asking people to start sending me scripts, please.
I was just thinking that. I was like,
he's busy.
Because
Ian gets a lot of requests
for foreseeable future. But I think most actors remember what it was like when they needed to ask a favour. if they're now successful. All actors want to work, and they're always hoping, of course, that something is going to arrive out of the blue, which is going to just be so special.
It's their Lord of the Rings, basically.
There we
That's
go.
what you're looking for.
So you don't have to feel when you approach an actor that you want them to do you a favour, rather that you are doing them a favour. But, I'm full of admiration for young producers who just step out into the unknown and do things on their own terms. You know who I'm talking about. Here they are. And but they're not alone. There are many, many, many people trying to do, and in the theatre too.
It's quite nice to hear, because I still sort of go think, if we send this to an agent, is the actor ever going to actually read it? But it's quite nice to hear that you do get things, which is nice.
Well, I do, and
It's encouraging.
I assume others do too.
Yeah, I suppose insecurities and losing characters, right? When you're playing a character for so long, or you've found a character, when you lose it, you finish the film, and you're then not working with those people anymore.
Yes.
Dealing with that sort of loss. I mean, we've always found this as...
You talk quite a little bit about this, yeah.
It's filmmakers. We struggle when suddenly we go, I'm not doing that anymore. You're out of that bubble. As someone who has done this a lot, how do you deal with that? To suddenly
It's probably
shed
not
it?
as bad for the actors as for the people doing those jobs, which will be continuing when the actors have left. Well, it's always bittersweet, isn't it? On the last day of whatever the job is, theatre or telly or cinema, there will be a regret, won't there? This is over. Of course, there will be some aspects of the work that you haven't enjoyed, and you think, thank God.
I never have to
I
see
don't
that
have to see
person
that
again.
person anymore. And they're probably saying it about me. But it isn't over, because in a film, you have to go back and
They're
do
forever.
some extra work.
Well, yeah.
There's always the premiere to go to. There are reunions. But as far as that, you're saying goodbye to people as opposed to the project.
Yeah.
You're not saying goodbye to the people, because there'll be another chance. There'll be another film. There'll be another play. And, I work with people now who I've not worked with for 50 years. I haven't forgotten them,
No.
but I don't know them. But then when you get back to work, you're right back to where you were all those years ago. So that's a real pleasure of the job.
Yeah.
That you're always saying goodbye, but then you're always saying hello again as well.
Let's go to some questions from our fans and yours. This is from Callie. She's asked, what's your favourite role and why? Was it the team, character or script?
I
These are
don't
quick
have a
ones.
favourite part, but I'm very grateful for having played Gandalf. It was a wonderful gift. Not a difficult part to play, but it's for an actor to land on a part of which they're always associated, and in a film that has many merits and remains popular after 20 years. In other words, a classic. I suppose it would have to be Gandalf.
What about your most sort of challenging role? That's something that's kind of really, really pushed you. To
I found Magneto difficult. Magneto doesn't have many speeches. I kept saying, "Can you write him a decent speech?" Well, no, it's based on a comic, and there are no speeches in comics. The
One-liners.
There's one-liners, yes. And also I didn't know quite what I was doing with it. So I was often ill at ease when we were filming that. But I did think the story was well worth telling, and it turned out to be terrific.
Well, I've actually just read that apparently now when they're making the new Marvel films, they say when we're talking about the baddie, we need to make them as good as Magneto. Apparently you set the bar for
Really?
like baddies in the Marvel world.
There we
I read.
go.
That's nice. Well, if they want the same sort of performance, I mean, here I am.
You played the role. Is it five films that you played the role?
No, 3.
Is it 3?
I don't know.
I think it's because you did
'Cause you
Wolverine,
as well.
which
Oh, we
tipped you
were
over.
And you were in that
marginally
way.
in it, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, you
yes.
popped up at the bottom, yeah.
Technically,
Yes.
it's 5. Technically,
Yes.
But you'd go again with Magneto.
Or a different Marvel film, I think.
Oh,
we
I
did
don't
it
know.
from-
I don't know.
Different baddie.
I think we'll let Fassbinder get on with it. He seems to know what he's doing.
He's doing all right.
a question from Chris Watt. How do you negotiate the process of performing for the lens as to live audience? I suppose we've already touched on that a lot, but maybe if there's one
Well,
word
experience,
answer.
just doing it over and over again. And of course, someone starting out, an actor starting out, can practice and rehearse and discover how to act for the camera by simply putting up their iPhone and acting to it.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Anyone can make a film.
Yes.
No, I agree.
He's just pointed at
Even
Matt.
me.
Anyone who's got a mobile phone can make a film.
No, I think you can speed up I think actors can speed up that process now. You know, when I was starting out, you'd have to wait for the next job to try and
practice.
progress.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
you can just do it in your bedroom and just try and see what works out.
What works, what doesn't.
But you used to say, "Oh, it's so much easier putting on a play than making a movie because you've got to find where you're going to do it and so on." But no, actually, it's the opposite. You can make a film for nothing. It will cost you nothing. And if you want to become better at acting for the camera, set up the camera and act and have a look at it. Get somebody else to look at it. No, it's just wonderful opportunities. Now, how that transfers it into a paying job is another matter. But I don't think we can, as artists, sit around waiting for the offers. You've got to get ready. There's no such thing as luck. I mean, well, there is luck, but there's no luck when it comes to, are you going to be able to take advantage of the luck? You have to be prepared. So get, just as you would be if you were a singer, constantly practicing and physically too, getting your body ready. Well, you can get your acting skills ready by practicing.
And then finally, to wrap this brilliant chat up, it's something you say to students when you're teaching potentially, if they don't study.
Oh, I see.
I see what
I see
you
what I'm doing there.
nice.
Yeah.
That was cunning, Giles. I didn't see that coming. Yes. Well, then they suggested people like quizzes. This is a quiz. What would Ian McKellen say to a student who was preparing for examination? Because if they don't do their work properly, and if they don't prepare and look over their notes before going into the examination, then you shall not pass.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so
Thank you so much, Ian.
Pleasure.
So there we have it, everyone. That was our episode with the fantastic Ian McKellen. How fun was that?
You could talk. You could listen.
Yeah.
You can just listen to him for hours and hours and
Exactly.
hours, which I often do.
And he's such a lovely man.
Yeah.
He's a lovely
He
man.
really
and
is.
yeah, I mean, maybe we can try and get him to part 2 at some point as well.
Yes.
And I can actually ask a decent question at the beginning about cats. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Cats. That
Or
will
we
be
need
our
a
way
cat
in.
special. That's
Yeah.
just flex on that for now.
Or with the Infinitum Subject Unknown Part 2. Maybe he's going to be nuts. So we could get him on to talk about that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, be fun.
That'd be fun.
Thank you everyone so much for listening. Wow, that was Sir Ian McKellen. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Tori, for setting this up and for being amazing.
Thank you, Giles.
Thank you, John.
Right, everyone, you can go out there and make your indie film. You can make it happen. Just as Ian McKellen did and then didn't want to do again, but you can.
You might feel the same.
And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it is your duty to...
Send the elevator back down.
We will see you all very soon. Peter Dinklage is coming up very soon for you as well. Another superstar joining us. But until then, we will see you all next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Filmmakers podcast today. If you'd like to support our ongoing efforts to bring the filmmaking world to life, have a look at our Patreon page.